What is going on, guys? Jet XC here, man, and we've got another quick little guide video. Now this is going to be not necessarily for beginners. This is going to be a guide where you get to a point where you unlock ultra rare gear, so pretty important. Now for me as a day one player, when I finally unlocked ultra rare gear, I was pretty excited, right? And as you can see, I've got a whole host of ultra rare gear, and I've also sold a lot of ultra rare gear, right? So as you can see, plenty of stuff here. And over time, I've built nothing but ultra rare gear, and I've even still used some rare gear every now and again. So rare gear is still not out of the equation in my opinion, right? But let's talk for a second. So when it comes to building ultra rare gear, that must mean that you got legendary with either Layla or Fred, right? So you unlock their ability. For me, I have Layla, so rank up preview. Click, clack, click, clack, I got to legendary. So you went from advanced, expert, to legendary, right? And now you've unlocked it. So now you're ready to craft. So let's take a look here. When you're ready to craft legendary gear, obviously you know where to go. You go to Layla and you have a whole host of things here, right? So let's just break this down as simple as possible. A lot of you should know the meta right now. The meta is crit damage, support characters that give you crit rate. If you want to build outside of that, completely up to you. But I'm just giving a general synopsis here on what I think you should prioritize. If you don't think that for your teams, cool, right? But let's start. The first item you're probably going to prioritize when you're building UR gear is going to be, without a doubt, in my opinion, and a lot of others' opinions, right, is Venomous Touch. Why? Because Venomous Touch will give you 2 lines of crit damage. 2 lines of crit damage, especially if you get it to UR4, is huge, okay? Now, this is going to aid you in doing tons of crit damage when you have, let's say, a Red Riding Hood row and a Diana. That's 80% crit rate. Then let's say you have around 500% crit damage in total on your Leatrice. You're going to do a ton of damage, guys, right? That's a ton of damage. Now, how do you get these items? What do you need to build? The main things you're going to need that's going to be the toughest for you to get is reinforced plywood and platinum ingot. Now, how do you build that? Well, let's go back. If we go to Scheherazade right here, you're going to need wood, hardwood, and golden ore. 2 items that I've explained are very tough to find, right? I've got 18k and 7k, but if you look at my other items, I've got over 1 million peat, basically. I've got 500k plain fabric. I've got 700k leather. So that means out of all of the items, wood and golden ore seems to be the things I need the most, right? So let's check it out. Where do I usually farm for these items? Lizard Man Altar. That's where I get my golden ores. And then Mountain Keeper Shelter. That's where I exclusively get my hardwood at, right? So you're going to do your quick hunt, farm it up, just like that. You're going to do that every day, right? So keep that in mind when building your Venomous Touch. Now, obviously, you're going to want UR4 or 3. It's tough to get 4, so try your best to get 4. If you can't, then go ahead with 3. Is it worth it to get 1 or 2? No, it's not. No point in building it, and I really do mean that. Just go with, I would rather you go with a UR4 rare gear than a UR1 or 2 weapon or piece of equipment, right? So let's look at some of my units. Venomous Touch, okay. Venomous Touch. Okay, it's right here. I clicked the wrong thing. Venomous Touch. Venomous Touch. Exclusive weapon here. And this would be a Venomous Touch, but I got this from a event. So this would have been a Venomous Touch. But as you can see, it continues on, right? So as you can see, for a lot of my damage dealing units, I've got Venomous Touch, and that's going to be something that's going to help you tremendously in your fights, right? And again, what will support that crit damage build will be units like be ranking out of Helena, right? Because she's got 50% crit rate, and then you combine her with somebody else like Elpis, which will give you 35% crit rate. Now you've got 85% crit rate. So the likeliness of you doing crit damage will be extremely high, okay? So keep that in mind as you're building. Now, let's go back. Here we go. So now let's take a look at everything else. Now, generally, when it comes to weapons, right? Anything with attack, either percentage or flat, and then crit damage is probably what you're going to build. So for physical, evil Dragon Blade, this one will be very rare occasions. Maybe, and again, this depends on the character, so you got to pay attention. Justia does fixed damage, so it's probably better for you to build one flat and one attack percentage. So getting the Hammer of Thunder will probably be the best bet, right? And then for your units that give you magic damage units, this one is probably going to be the one you use most. Travel God's Friend, you get one line of flat attack and crit. And then again, if the situation arises where you need both flat attack and percent attack for magic damage, then again, it all depends on the character. Now, just to add something real quick, guys, I will say that there's a whole argument between flat damage and percent damage, and I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Hey, should you build percent attack or flat attack? I'll just put it like this. If you have a lot of percentage attack, then go ahead and build some flat attack. Now, there is some things where, oh, well, if you're using a support may give you a percentage of attack or magic damage, so then that means you want to build flat damage. So if that's what you want to do, fine. But in my honest opinion, and again, this is completely up to me, or this is what I'm telling you, you don't have to listen to this part. I just say build whatever you want. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But if you're trying to optimize your damage to the utmost, then just pay attention to the buffs that your support's giving you. If they're giving you like attack percentage, then maybe you want to go flat attack. If you've got a lot of flat attack, then maybe you want to go percentage, right? But I'm not going to go ahead and do the math for that. You guys can go search that yourself. Because for me, I don't think it matters that much in my honest opinion, right? So do what you will with that information. Now, of course, when it comes to defense, depending on your character, you might want double flat defense and then defense and HP. So maybe if you're using Grandhilder, you may want defense and HP because Grandhilder, for her idol costume, she gets a bunch of health, right? So you may want to boost that health with flat HP here, but also giving her defense. Now, again, when it comes to the stats, you got to pay attention because optimally, a lot of people would suggest about 95 defense, at least 90 if you can get there, but 95 is like the perfect amount of defense if you can get it. So for example, if you look at my units, let's just take Helena here. I've got her at 95 magic resist. Hard to do, but I was able to get it. She's a complete MR tank and even a little bit of defense in there to try and survive, but I was able to get some substat lines with regular defense, some substat lines with magic resist, and yeah, it really does help out. Now, it definitely depends on what type of UR gear you have. If it's 3 or 4, there's definitely quite a difference between 3 and 4 to where you'll be able to hit those numbers. So again, you just got to really balance that out, right? For other characters, for Shara, I've got 91 magic resist. For Dalvi, I've got 81. Eclipse, I actually have 97. She has a lot of MR. It's crazy how much MR I have on her. For my Grandhilder here, I've got 91 magic resist, 35% defense, 85% defense on my Loen currently. So, again, really pay attention to what defense item you want to build. It's more than likely going to be double defense or double magic resist, but there are going to be some scenarios, depending on your character, where it's probably going to be best for you to build health. But that's going to be up to you and you reading what your character actually does, right? So, let's go back. Okay. So, and of course, here's the MR items as well, right? MR, HP right here. Yeah, and then we've got the same thing here with the helmet, defense HP. This one is double magic resist, radiant wisdom. Okay, now let's get into something that I think is also just as important as venomous touch. That's going to be your glove. So typically when it comes to the rebellion glove, I really don't build this. The only scenario, in my opinion, where this is viable is if you're going into ranked and you want to give your own character crit rate because you don't want to use a support in ranked, right? That's the only scenario, in my opinion, to use this. Otherwise, supports will give you crit rate, so why build it, right? So, this is going to be completely up to you if you want to build in my opinion, I really don't think you'll be building this rarely, if ever. So typically, God King Silver Arm, double attack percentage. Or you could go Prime Authority, which gives you attack percentage and flat attack. Again, completely up to you on what you want to do numbers wise, but to me it's not a big deal. But you're definitely going to be using these two items for all of your damage dealers. And honestly, for most units, right? I would say for most, if not all units, you'll be using either one of these gloves for your physical units. And then obviously for magic, you'll have the same exact thing. Double percentage and flat attack. So just about everybody will have some type of glove. So it's going to be either the God King's armor or the God King's hand, Prime Authority, and then Shackle of Treachery, or the Dragon Scale of Protection, right? So those are going to be the second most important next to Venomous Touch. Everything else, completely up to you, except I would say the weapon, where you have to, there's a line of crit damage. So depending on your unit, you're definitely going to want that extra line of crit damage. So building Evil Dragon and Travel God's Friend is going to be pretty important. Otherwise, hey, do what you need to do. Now, when it comes to building, let's just, let's go ahead and roll here. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to roll for UR3 or 4. See, as you can see, I was able to get one UR3, so let's take a look at that UR3. Let's filter this out to nothing but UR gear. Let's see. So here's the new UR3. We're going to upgrade it. Obviously, when you're upgrading, you're going through the same exact process that you already know of. Again, the same upgrade rank will apply. The best to go for here is going to be BBS. And I will put the probabilities in the description and also in the comments as well on the likeliness of getting BBS. But again, you want to get as close to BBS as possible to get your most optimal damage. But if you don't have the material, then just try your best to get what you can get. Okay, we're going to try 2 more times. Alright, it just jumped from 85 to 93. One more time. Let's see what we get. Okay, so ASC. So, not bad, right? We've got 93% crit damage on both lines here. When you're looking at substats, depending on your character, you might want to get another line of crit damage. So, you'd be using your refining crystals, right? And refining crystals, you could get from a couple places. You could dismantle gear. Specifically, your UR gear will get you refining crystals. And you could get some at shop and Mirror Wars. But you're going to get most of it from your UR gear. So again, UR gear 1 and 2, you're going to want to more than likely just junk all of them. UR gear 3 and 4 is all you're really going to need. And that'll be your best bet into getting as much optimal damage as possible. So again, UR gear 1 and 2, don't waste your time. Still use that rare gear if you have it. And just stick with selling, dismantling UR gear 1 and 2. Right? Because that will give you refining crystals so you could change your substats here. So I'm going to go ahead and do it for the video. Crit rate, let's roll again. Retry. Let's roll one more time here. Alright, 2 lines of crit damage. Insane, right? And then I've got some HP, whatever. So I'm going to confirm. Now, keep option means that you're going to keep this first line over here, but if you confirm, you get the new line. So I'm going to confirm. Now I've got my substats changed. Now you can lock it if you want. Now if you lock and re-roll, it'll cost more refining crystals just to roll for this one. So check this out. You unlock it, it's 90. You lock it again, unlock it again, it's 45. So for those of you that are really trying to get the perfect stats, you can lock these, but it'll cost more to get the third one perfectly. So keep that in mind. And yeah, now you've got your UR3 weapon ready to go for one of your units. Now, let's talk about just regular stats. Overall, when it comes to damage units, I'll show you some here. So, my DJ Vanica, I've got UR4, 2 lines of crit damage. I've got the Travel God's Fiend's Hand. I've got crit damage here. Now, please ignore this. This was a mistake I made where I accidentally put Prime Authority on her. But because it had 2 lines of crit damage, I've yet to remove it, so I have to replace this weapon. So please ignore this. Please. But anyway, I've got over 700 crit damage, which is a lot, guys. That's a lot. Now, optimally, if you guys can at least reach 500, I think you're in a good spot, to be honest with you. I would say a lot of people would say if you could get anywhere between 550 and 600, you're doing crazy, crazy, crazy damage. But again, try your best to get as close to at least 500 as you can. If you're still like 4 to 450, that's not the worst, but try and get in the 500 range, right? So that's just one example. My Air is 364. I kind of stopped working on her because I really don't use her that much. Let's check out some other units here. My Yuri is 554. Nebris 524. And again, we're looking at crit damage here. So Rubia. Oh, do I not have Rubia built? What happened? I must have taken my items off of Rubia here. That's weird. I have to see where they went. But yeah, as you can see, some of my damage dealer units definitely have all the items on them. Let me show you guys one more. I'll show you Thick Tia here. Thick Tia has over 503 crit damage. Now, I could buffer up a little bit more, so I'll have to work on that, but you get the idea. Crit damage is huge. Venomous Touch is used everywhere. So, that item, like I said in the beginning, is going to be big, big, big for you guys, okay? So, that's just about everything, guys. Like I said, when it comes to changing your substats, you're going to want to dismantle gear, right? So, you're going to select gear. And let's say you want to just dismantle. I'm going to choose something random here. Prime Authority. Boom, just like that, you get 15 refining crystals. So when you have a bunch of useless UR gear, it'll stockpile up over and over again. Okay, so that's about it, guys. At this point, you should be pretty much very into mid, if not late game for sure. So a lot of this I really don't need to explain to you guys, but I just thought I'd do that video to kind of tell you what to prioritize. We also went over what's most important when it comes to hunting with your gear, right? So it's, like I said, your golden ore and wood is going to be some of the most major things. So Lizardman Altar and Mountain Keeper Shelter is where I go to hunt for both. And yeah, if you guys got any other questions, please do let me know. But thank you guys for watching, and yeah. I'll see you later.